Hi, brother teacher here. How do you deal with a relationship that is abusive? Verbally or physically, and even both? Well, let's look at the abuser for a moment. Why do people abuse other people in a relationship? What I have found over the years is that abusive relationships are the result of the person who's carrying it out against another has been abused themselves in their prior childhood or adult life. And they never learned how to overcome the abuse. So they pass that behavior on, or the frustrations and anxiety and the anger that they have built up inside, they vent it on some unsuspecting person. Oftentimes their spouse, their wife, and even wives on their husbands, boyfriends, just partnerships in general. But what do we do when someone is physically abusing us? First of all, even though it's more common for women to be physically abused in a relationship, it does happen to men as well. And no one deserves to be injured, to have someone else put their hands on them in an aggressive manner, doing them harm. I know I wouldn't want to experience that, especially in an ongoing type of situation. But some people have become accustomed to that ritual, so to speak. And oftentimes, in a relationship between a man and a woman, for example, if the guy loses his job, or he's in and out of work, or he's just upset at something that happens at his job, he's dealing with the frustrations of trying to pay bills maybe. And when he's at home or wherever, the first person in eyesight is usually his spouse. And when she or he tries to engage in conversations, oftentimes that person who's under stress will lash out. And then sometimes those conversations get very heated. And the weaker person, which is the abuser that is, does not have self-restraint. And they lash out not only verbally, but ultimately physically, taking that anguish out on the other person, which that person doesn't deserve. I found that many people who have these anger type issues stems from their childhood. They were that way as a child, and they're simply nothing more than just an older version of that child. They have just never overcome the anger issue. Now, as far as someone calling you out of your name, because men call women bitches, they call them hoes, they say they're ugly, you stink, you'll never become anything or be anything in life, nobody else wants you. All of these types of hurtful things men say to women. Not that women won't say it to men or have not said it to men, but more so from my experience and the way society has been set up over the years between the relationship with a man and a woman, men are generally the culprit. And again, it stems from their inability to communicate properly and to control their tongue and ultimately their fist or hands. So, regardless of what the reason is, a man or woman abuses their spouse, it is never adequate You never have a good enough excuse for putting your hands or even your lips on your spouse. Talking down, demeaning, degrading, condescending to your spouse. Trying to get a response out of them or to make them feel little or cowering under you in your voice. That's a bully tactic. It is a great example of someone who lacks true character. No one has a right to be bullied by their spouse. Never, ever. So, what do you do when you are the victim of an abusive spouse? Someone who abuses you verbally and physically even. The simple answer really is to remove yourself from that situation. You heard me say a moment ago, no one deserves to be bullied by their spouse. True statement. So why are you still there? It's cause and effect. If for whatever reason you, the recipient of the bullying, you push the button of that other person by something you say or do, and then they jump on you full throttle, that shouldn't happen. So, you need to figure out an exit plan. I know some people have it very difficult, and they may even say, let's talk about the woman in the relationship for a moment. I don't have any income. I have limited income. He pays the majority of the bills or all of the bills. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Oftentimes that's the reason that abused woman won't leave that situation. But I'm telling you, ladies, you're better than that. And you do have the power. You just have to take it. There is a way. And there's some women who are afraid of retribution by not only the man or their partner, but even his family. And this freezes them and holds them still in place. But when is enough enough? Do you want him to take your life? Do you want him to cripple you where you're hospitalized or paralyzed or become so broken up that you can't function physically normally as you have before maybe? When does it end? It ends today. Stop this abuse today. As I say, figure out an exit plan. You don't have to do it instantaneously. But what I would suggest anyone do first, I know that your partner and you have to eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or snacks, or whatever from time to time, and that's probably more likely a calm time. It's probably a time when that individual is sitting reading a book or watching a television program or so forth, and it's quiet. Anytime that you can catch that partner in your relationship quiet and relatively calm, sit down beside them and say, "Excuse me, dear, honey, baby," whatever your choice of words are in your particular relationship. I would like to talk to you. Or just start talking to them and say, I know we've had some rough roads, but I want to express to you that every time we're in this particular situation or this particular subject comes up or whatever the case is, you have a tendency to lash out at me and call me names or out of my name, or you put your hands on me. I want you to know that it hurts. I want you to know that that's not acceptable. Talk to him or her in a very calm voice. If the other person's voice begins to escalate and they get aggressive or aggressively excited or even angry, still stay calm the whole time. Or if they get to a point where it seems like they're about to erupt, you say, I tell you what, we can continue this conversation later, and just leave it alone. Back out of the conversation. And do that. Make a second attempt, and maybe a third. But I tell you what I would not do. It wouldn't be a fourth attempt, fifth attempt, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If he or she is not listening to you and will not show any sympathy or empathy towards you after your first, second, third attempt, it's time for you to go. Even if you suggest to them maybe some counseling. But I'm not a big fan of counseling, because oftentimes that sets people off even more. You trying to suggest counseling to them. I mean, you can do it maybe one time and see what their response is going to be. If they become very, very angry because you even suggested, it makes them feel even more insecure and probably unstable or unstable, because they're saying to you then, oh, you're saying I'm not a man, or you're saying I'm not intelligent, or I'm not strong enough, or you're trying to say that, oh, I need somebody else to help me. And then they become even more incensed. So I'm not saying dismiss the counseling idea altogether, but try it once. Don't keep pushing the issue if you're getting a bad response from that person, or they become overly aggressive and angry again. But as I said, after the first, second, third attempt, and it doesn't seem that they're going to move or bend and start treating you with the respect that you deserve, it's time to go. I don't care if you've been married 40 years, 20 years. I don't care if you've known this person since childhood. It doesn't matter. What does matter is your peace of mind and your safety. That's very important. So, if he or she does have the majority of the stake in the relationship as it relates to the finances, so what? When you are alone, start seeking out additional employment, or maybe your first time job in a long time, so that you can sustain yourself in the event that you leave the relationship. Don't say and stop saying, I can't do it and I don't know what I'm going to do. Yes, you do. You know that you're going to preserve yourself by leaving that violent situation. You can do that. If you have family, a friend, talk to them in advance, like I'm speaking right now. Don't do it in anxiety to the point where you look like you've lost it. Don't be angry when you do it. Just have a simple conversation with them, someone that you really trust, and you tell them, hey, so-and-so has been abusing me and I can't take it anymore, or I refuse to take it anymore. Would it be okay if I stay with you for a set time? If they are a true friend, they will allow you to do that. Would it be okay if I stay with you for a set time until I get on my feet, or until I get a job, or I'm about to start a job, until I get my income flowing steadily, and then I can move into my own place? Talk to your family, talk to close friends, and if you have to, involve the police and let them know. And if you have a very violent partner or man in your relationship, and you are afraid that he may try to harm you or follow you, make sure that you let your police department know, and that they even put him on notice or her on notice, even if you have to get a restraining order. Let them know and go ahead and do what you have to do to preserve you. And God forbid that you have children in this situation, because they are being affected as well. And if you have children and a family, you want to be around for the rest of your life, your natural life, and not have someone destroying your life. You want to be around for your family. So you take these zeros out of your life, these people that are harming you, you take them, remove them out of your life, find yourself an exit plan. Now, as I'm sitting here talking to you, if you still find it difficult to muster up the strength or the courage to get out of that relationship, and you just need a little push, you need a little encouragement, you have my permission to contact me. Now, don't just contact me just to be contacting me, you know, talking about something from outer space. But as it relates to a personal issue that you're dealing with and you just need some encouragement and maybe even some help with your exit plan, you may contact me. And I'll give you the best advice that I possibly can share if you don't want to share it directly on this particular platform. So just ask me for my email information and I'll give it to you, and then we can correspond that way. And hopefully it wouldn't take years for us to come to some resolution with your issue. And I'm just going to be straightforward with you and tell you what I feel that you should do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to basically lay it out like I do right here on YouTube and say, hey, this is what's happening to you. This is how you should deal with what's happening to you. And that's it. It's very, very basic. It's no mystical resolution. It's very commonsensical resolutions. You just have to be willing to do it. I can't force you to do anything, and I'm not going to attempt to do that. But I'm going to tell you the truth all of the time. That's it. And that's all. I have been through this situation before. So I'm an authority. I can tell you about it. The exit plan. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that you are important. The most important person in life right now is you. Because if you don't have you together, then you can't see clearly to help anybody else outside of yourself. So help yourself first, love yourself first, then you can see clearly to help and love all of those outside of you. But what you don't deserve is someone who really doesn't love you. And they can tell you that they love you all they want to until the cows come home. But if their actions don't represent what they're saying, you know what the answer really is. So stop deceiving yourself into believing that this person loves you and all they do is hurt you. This is Brother Teacher. I hope and pray for your safety, your health, and your joy in life. And I hope and pray that this video was of some value to someone that's watching. Yahweh loves you, and I love you. And have a wonderful day. So long.